Good evening and welcome. This is Sarah Charney speaking. I am currently the Vice President of the Department of Service to Sisterhoods and Districts. In this series of webinars, we will present 3 phases of an effective membership campaign: readiness, recruitment, and retention. This evening, the second in our series, we will be focusing on recruitment. Information from the first webinar on readiness, prepared and delivered by Sharon Zidney, one of the 2 co-chairs of the membership committee, is on the WRJ website. There is a link to watch the webinar recording. You can also download the PowerPoint presentation and a readiness checklist to keep you on task. These resources are available to everyone from the home page. This evening, you will be hearing primarily from Dara Amram, the other co-chair of the membership committee. Dara has prepared a highly informative, helpful, and delightful presentation for us all. The final webinar on retention, prepared by me, Sarah Charney, will be presented on April 30th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. A reminder that you must register for each webinar individually. Before Dara begins, I would like to introduce our super talented manager of this department, Rachel Juris, who will review some of the technical aspects of this webinar with us. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this webinar on recruitment. I'd just like to go through a few guidelines for the optimal webinar attendee experience with all of you. This webinar broadcast has begun with all attendees in listen-only mode. On the next couple of slides, we'll explain how to use your webinar control panel. On this slide, you'll see the control panel. Please note that the numbers on this screen are simply an example. If this panel is getting in your way, you can minimize it by clicking on the 2 arrows on the upper left-hand corner of your panel. Then to maximize it again, simply click on the arrows once again and your panel will open up. During our Q&A session later in the webinar, you will have the opportunity to ask questions. Since tonight we have a fairly large group, we will not be using the raise hand function. So if you have any questions throughout any part of the webinar, simply type it into the questions box and we will answer your question as best as we can. If it's a content question, we'll review it during the Q&A session. And if you have a technical question, please feel free to use this box as well and we will help you out. Audio controls. You have the option of choosing one of 2 audio modes during this webinar, either telephone or mic and speakers. When using the telephone component, be sure to enter your audio PIN, which is displayed in the audio pane. Again, please note that the numbers on this panel on the screen are simply examples. Helpful tips. If you are encountering any issues with your webinar experience, please type your questions into the questions log and we will do our best to assist you. If you continue to have difficulty with any portion of the webinar, please contact GoToWebinar Help either by calling their helpline at 1-888-259-8414 and selecting option 1, or by clicking on the Help option on the top of your webinar panel and selecting GoToWebinar Help. Thank you for your attention and patience. Now let's begin our presentation.
Hi, this is Sharon Zidney, and along with Dara, I'm one of the co-chairs of the membership committee. I just want to review a little bit what we talked about in our previous webinar on readiness. The 5 key items that we talked about was first, making sure that your board is on board, that they're ready, willing, and able to support the membership campaign, and that they are willing to do what they need to do to help making the campaign successful. You should have a membership committee formed that would ideally consist of a membership chair, your programming chair, your marketing chair, an appropriate cross-section of your sisterhood membership, as well as your sisterhood president. The committee, in consultation with the board, should have come up with some SMART membership goals. These would be specific, measurable, agreed upon, realistic, and time-bound goals regarding what you hope to achieve with your membership campaign. You also want to make sure that you've got a campaign timetable. So cutting up the year into quarters as far as what you're doing with regards to having membership programming, developing membership materials, and planning for your membership campaign. And finally, you want to make sure that you have a plan that you can ensure your success of your campaign. So having some timelines, having some status reports, having some methods to keep everybody on track as the membership campaign goes throughout the year. I'm going to now turn the webinar back over to Dara.
Okay, thank you, Sharon, for the recap. I appreciate that. So welcome, everyone. I'm Dara Amram, and I'm going to present our second 3Rs webinar on recruitment. I have enjoyed preparing this webinar for you and hope you find it useful in your membership campaigns. Tonight we will focus on the many facets of recruitment, the goal of recruitment, for each and every sisterhood member to feel welcomed, valued, and engaged. In this webinar tonight, you will learn about starting the conversation, WRJ's Just Ask program, membership techniques, building bridges with younger members, and recruitment communication. Starting the conversation. Your membership committee should be well-versed, develop talking points, and it's always good to do role play with membership conversations. Your conversation points may include focusing on the social, educational, and spiritual growth within a reform framework, participation in meaningful sisterhood projects, develop meaningful friendships with like-minded women, and supporting the congregation. And always be sure to give specific examples of what you are doing for the congregation, and of course, to have fun. Creating your ONEG spiel. Write down your deliverables, quick information about sisterhood. Create a captivating opening sentence and practice your delivery. This is your time to quickly introduce sisterhood to a potential member. Don't give everything away. Just whet their appetite just a little bit. And of course, we know this can be challenging and may take you out of your comfort zone momentarily, but it will work, and over time, you should become more comfortable with it. This should be effortless, comfortable conversation. And tonight what we're going to do is, by Sharon and Sarah, they're going to do a role play. And to set the stage, this is a sisterhood member having a conversation with a new congregant.
Shabbat Shalom. Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a sisterhood greeter and wanted to say hello and introduce myself. It's so nice to see you at services tonight.
Nice to meet you, Sarah. I'm Sharon. We just joined the temple about a month ago.
Well, welcome to our congregation. We've been members here for a long time. It really is our home away from home. Have you thought yet about joining sisterhood?
I read about all the many things that you do in the e-newsletters and saw your great picture frame in the main lobby. Can you tell me a little bit more about what sisterhood does, though?
Sure, absolutely. I'd be happy to do so. Our sisterhood has a history of supporting our congregation by helping with ONEGs, helping with the Welcome Back barbecue, and we do our best to help in other areas when asked by the congregation.
Wow, it sounds like you do a lot for the temple. I'm just really not sure I can commit to helping with any of these things, or really even attend meetings or events.
You know, I really understand how you feel, Sharon. When I first joined sisterhood, I also felt that I was too busy to commit to anything. But over time, what I've found is that I've been able to adjust my level of participation to accommodate my sisterhood takes careful thought each year to plan a well-rounded calendar. We offer programs at times of the day to meet women at each stage of their lives. We have a book club, a speaker series, we do mitzvah projects, and we have family programs as well.
Wow, those programs sound like they could be really a lot of fun.
Well, you know, I've been a member of Sisterhood for 5 years because I love how Sisterhood brings together women of all ages from the congregation and helps us to know and support each other.
You know, that sounds really nice. I'm going to look at the calendar and see if I can attend something soon.
That's excellent. I'll be happy to send you some membership information, a calendar of upcoming events, as well as my contact information. It was a real pleasure meeting you, Sharon, and I will be sure to be in touch with you and follow up with you. I really hope to see you soon.
Thanks, Sarah. See you soon.
Thank you, Sharon and Sarah, for that role play. Objections to membership. At this point, you've taken all the necessary steps to recruit a new Sisterhood member. You've told her about the benefits of membership, given her all of your Sisterhood literature, invited her to events, and introduced her to other members. So why hasn't she completed a Sisterhood membership form? It is not uncommon for an individual to show some level of hesitation when asked to join a membership organization. Some typical objections may be, I don't have the time to participate. I can't afford membership fees right now. There's nobody my age in Sisterhood. A good strategy to use is the feel, felt, found technique. This method shows potential members that you empathize with their concerns and that you're willing to help them find a solution. The technique has 3 components. I understand how you feel, I felt the same way, and what I have found. And if you recall, this technique was used in the role play. And it said, I understand how you feel, Sharon. When I first joined Sisterhood, I also felt that I was too busy to commit to anything. What I have found is that I'm able to adjust my level of participation to accommodate my schedule. And these are great exercises to practice with your membership committee. Ways to recruit. Make the ask. First, identify your non-members. Ask them to join. People like and want to be asked. Plan a phone-a-thon using the WRJ Just Ask program, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later. Set up meet and greets. And we talked a lot about meet and greets in our last webinar. These are informal gatherings to learn and inform others about Sisterhood. It should include an icebreaker, a light nosh, and a brief educational piece. Overall, you want to keep it fun and informative. Encourage women to bring friends with them. Co-sponsor events within other groups within your congregation. You never know, you may be tapping into other constituencies that may be interested in Sisterhood. Make sure that you offer a variety of programming and plan your calendar ahead. This shows that the group is organized and lets people have a taste of what is to come. Develop connections. Set up a connection committee to call all Temper members and wish them holiday greetings. At the same time, you can also remind them about upcoming Sisterhood programming. If you just get a larger calling committee, it only takes a few calls per person. This well-wishing phone call will stay in someone's mind and make a positive impact. And if you have time on the phone, you can also maybe find out a little bit about their interests and see maybe if you can add some new programming in the coming year. Just Ask. It totally works. The Just Ask program is a new version of Sisterhood Sunday. It is a phone-a-thon with scripts and conversations, and all of this is available on the leadership portion of the WRJ website. And here is a testimonial from Congregation Beth Israel Sisterhood in Austin, Texas. And they used this program, and it absolutely worked for them. And they said, it totally works. We used WRJ's Just Ask program, and in 1 year, it doubled our Sisterhood's membership. We had food and prizes. We had leaders in Sisterhood and women who have never volunteered before. We had women of all ages calling. They kept it fun and engaging for the volunteers and gained members at the same time. Marketing sisterhood. Letter and postcards campaigns work very well. The half-letter campaign is something I'd like to focus on. That's where you actually write a letter that is half a sheet, letting women know that you are only half a sisterhood and would like them to join your sisterhood to make it a whole. A postcard campaign using the Yes Fund postcards are cost-effective, and they're a great way to thank people and also let them know about the upcoming programming. Membership and program sections should be on your sisterhood web pages on your Temple website so that everything is at their fingertips. Always include articles and pictures in your Temple bulletin. And on this page, you'll also see the WRJ membership ad templates and the electronic picture frame where it says, "Are you in the picture?" And if you recall from the role play, the new congregant mentioned that she saw it, and she mentioned it in their conversation. The great thing about many of these things that you can use for marketing sisterhood is that it is all at your fingertips. There's no need to reinvent the wheel. It's all available on the leadership portion of the website. If you don't have access to this, just ask your sisterhood president for the log-on information. It's that easy. And here we have a marketing sample of a sisterhood brochure, and you can see that it's full of, just chock full of information. It talks about the sisterhood. It talks about women of Reformed Judaism. It mentions why sisterhood needs your support. It also gives a good taste of their upcoming events and their mission statement, letting women know what they stand for. Talking about the dues, women would like to know where their dues go to. So this spells out exactly where their money is going to. And of course, right there, handy, is a membership form for them to fill out. And you can see that this membership brochure is full of information. You could make one brochure with all of this information, or you could also split it into pieces so that you can use it at different times during the year. And again, you can see that this is available on the WRJ website in the Membership Matters Toolkit. Recruitment communication. There's many ways that you can communicate with potential members. Through email, you might want to have a dedicated sisterhood email list that only goes out so that women can see where information is coming to and from a specific sisterhood email address. Weekly updates, bi-weekly updates, monthly updates. Making sure that you are visible on your Temple website, utilizing your clergy to get your message out. Social media, such as Facebook and Twitter, are another great way to get your message out, especially quickly. And powerful testimonials. Testimonials can definitely resonate with someone and find the connection there. And I'm going to share 2 testimonials with you. Even though I have young children and a very packed schedule, I always make the time to come to sisterhood events. It gives me a much-needed break and allows me to connect with other women my age in a meaningful way. Sisterhood membership is worth every penny. I've made friends with women of all ages from the congregation and gotten so much out of our social action projects. It feels so good having fun and making a difference at the same time. Building bridges with younger members. Evaluate and develop your approaches to learning about the interests of young women in your congregation and planning programs that will stimulate them to join your sisterhood. Hint, this works for all members. Engaging and recruiting younger members. Meeting them where they're at. Realize that their social needs may be mostly being met through the activities that they may have in preschool or religious school. They may be already having mom's night out or couples get-togethers, but this should not be seen as an obstacle. Remember to work through those obstacles. There should be give and take. Design tailored programs for them. Engage their children and family sometimes. It doesn't have to be all of your programming. You may also want to create flyers that are especially designed for them. Build partnerships within the congregation. Try to work with the parents group in the preschool or the religious school and do some partner programming. Offer babysitting. That's definitely something helpful for moms that may be coming to an evening program or even during the day. Find and utilize liaisons. Liaisons should be women who are directly involved in the preschool or religious school. Do a gift shop. You could also use your gift shop if you have one, and think about how the gift shop might be able to give back to the preschool or religious school. If you're doing a program and you need a host home, think about maybe asking one of the younger members to use their home. They'll ask their friends to come. What I can tell you is age is not seen if it's an engaging program. Ask them to do something small. Maybe they'll do something, and remember to always thank them. Programming. One size does not always fit all. Never give up. Look at the positives of a program. Think outside of the box. Do something new. Program outside of the temple walls. And always follow up with something personal. The Yes Fun postcards are a great way to say thank you. Programming ideas. Many of these ideas below came from the WRJ publications, Membership Matters, and Programming Possibilities. Martinis and Mid-Rosh, Parlor Meetings, M&Ms and Membership, Vodkas and Latkes, Coffee Shop Klatch, an Art Museum Tour, High Tea, Ladies Lounge, Progressive Dinner, Buddy Match, Mahjong Madness, or a Membership Caravan. And these are great ideas. If you're on the President's Listserv, that's another great way to get new ideas or ask how certain programming has been done. And if you're not on the President's Listserv, ask your president to put a question out there and forward you some of the email answers. And that could definitely help to stimulate your programming. Oh, the places you'll go. Tonight we learned how to recruit members incorporating various techniques. These techniques will also help you to retain the members that you gained. WRJ resources. Don't forget, all of the WRJ resources are at your fingertips. Go to WRJ.org and log into the leadership portion of the website. And you can see here we have another membership ad template, and sisterhoods have used this in posters, in temple bulletins, and this is right there, and there's a variety of them to meet the needs for your sisterhood. The WRJ Just Ask program is available to you, and there's also the Membership Matters and the Membership Programming Toolkit. I want to thank you again for joining us this evening. I hope you found it informative and engaging. Thank you, Sarah, Sharon, and Rachel, for helping us to prepare for tonight. And now I'm going to turn it over to Rachel for our questions and answers.
Okay. Thank you, Dara, for a wonderful presentation on membership recruitment. So again, just a reminder to everybody that if you have any questions, content questions about tonight's webinar, please type it into the questions box in your control panel, and we will be happy to answer you. And if we get a lot of questions, we may not have the ability to answer all of them tonight, but we will be happy to follow up with you after the webinar. So please ask your questions. I will filter them to the panelists. Okay. So I have a question about some of the innovative programs that that were mentioned in the presentation today. Can you describe some of these? For example, parlor meetings, or margaritas and membership on Monday, membership caravan. Can you please tell us a little bit more about these programs? And again, this is open to any of the panelists to respond.
I can start off, if that's okay. This is Sarah Charney speaking. So margaritas and membership. You know, you can pick a day of the week if we want to make it alliterative. Margaritas and membership on Monday. You can serve margaritas on a Monday and discuss membership with potential sisterhood members, as well as existing members of sisterhood. You know, you can try a different combination for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, maybe not Shabbat, but you know, you can swing it, Scotch or something. And let's see, I think you mentioned, Rachel, somebody asked about parlor meetings. Yeah, that's also a really nice way to invite potential and existing members together. You know, maybe in a smaller environment, small setting, to discuss the benefits of joining sisterhood. You know, if people meet people one-on-one and they meet existing members, again, going through that feel, felt, found scenario, you know, they'll hear from existing members who also, I mean, everyone leads very busy lives, and they'll ask them, well, how did you find the time to get to that program? So parlor meetings are smaller meetings, more intimate meetings, and that might work in your community. Does somebody else want to jump in?
I think, you know, I'll just mention with programming, you know, you want to have programs that are helping to build community. And, you know, these are just some ideas, and it can be done in a variety of ways. You know, some of the things that, you know, the list is endless, and everybody's done something a little bit different. I know some sisterhoods have, you know, done spa nights where it's just time to take time for yourself and offer mini massages, maybe talk a little bit about health and wellness. You know, that's a great way to get people involved. Cooking seems to be very popular lately, having a cooking demonstration and just enjoying the time together and learning something new. There's so many great ideas out there, you know, and incorporating membership at the same time. You never know who is going to be interested in something new. We had a chit-chat club where we met actually at one of the local wine bars, and we just got together for a little bit of wine and some chatting, and another time just to get to know each other, build community, and have some fun together.
Okay, great. Okay, I have another question here that came. Nearly all of the women who have school-age children are also professionals who work full-time. And says I can't quite read this, but they've beg off that they don't have time, they're too tired, or go out after dinner, and it says they will miss much time with their husbands, Sunday brunch, you know, different times that the group meets. What do you suggest, how do you suggest we reply to them for these very, very busy parents of school-age children that have very full schedules?
That's a great question, and you know that is definitely an obstacle, and it's an obstacle that takes time to work through. No date, unfortunately, will always be the best date, but if you can also try to maybe get some of these women together who are these professionals and see if you can find a date that is common for them. You know, if you just start with a few who will commit to a date, you say, you know, we'd like to plan this program. We'd also love to have your input. Letting them know that you're just not picking a random date, but actually specifically ask them what date might work for them. But ask a few of them, or ask them to ask their friends, you know, what date might work for them. Because now they've realized that you have taken them into consideration. They want to know and feel that you're thinking about them and that you recognize that there's different things going on. You know, you don't want to, it's very hard. There's, you know, you compete with what's going on with the schools, you know, with the public schools and the private schools and what programming they have going on. And time is very important and valuable to everyone. So you want them to also know that you respect their time and you're going to use their time when they come to something for them to enjoy themselves. So definitely making them a part of the equation and letting them know that you're interested in them and what can you do to help bring them into a program.
And this is Sharon, and maybe another way, again, from a membership perspective, it's hard to get people to come to a program when they're so busy, but by providing opportunities for them to be involved on their own time, so if there's something that they could do at home that doesn't take a lot of time, again, for them to feel connected to sisterhood, even if it's not in a personal way, again, feeling the roots, getting connected, getting to know other sisterhood women through phone, through email, through ways that are not, needing to be in a physical place at a physical time, may allow them to better manage, work and home and being a member of sisterhood.
Right, and you may also want to consider doing a family type of program so that you're involving the entire family, because if they're expressing to you that they want that family time with their husband and their children, you could do some combined family programming as well.
Great. Thank you. And thank you for your great question, Carol. Okay, I have a few other questions. Here's another one. We've tried everything to engage younger members, but they aren't interested, or they think sisterhood is quote unquote for older women. What do you suggest? How do you suggest we respond to this?
I'll go ahead. That's, again, it's something that it's a great question, and it's not uncommon. And I think that, again, you need to take them into consideration. They value their time, and they're definitely thinking about where they're going to put their time. And the more that you can create partnerships with these women and work together rather than separate or have competing programming, it's going to be a win-win program, definitely a win-win relationship. So again, you may incorporate families some of the time. And again, this is an obstacle, but it's something that it takes time and being flexible. And if you start with a few, they will come. And I speak from experience. Just starting with a few, and it will grow. I know that, if you ask them to host something, they're going to encourage others to come as well. And thinking out of the box, finding out what they're interested in, and how you can build some programming around them. They will feel that their time is being used, wisely, and that you appreciated them and you thought about them in the programming.
Great. Thank you, Dara. Okay, I have one other question, and again, if anybody has any additional questions, please type them into the log. You mentioned in the webinar several membership resources that can be found on the WRJ website. Just Ask, Membership Matters, Ad Templates. Where exactly how do I get access to these? Where do I find them?
Okay, this is Sarah. So as Dara mentioned, if you are currently not a sisterhood president, please ask your sisterhood president for her login information, which she should share with you. It would be generally her email address as well as her password. That will get you onto the leadership dashboard section of the WRJ website. The WRJ website is www.wrj.org. So when you're on the home page, you'll see there's an area, a spawn in the top right corner where you can type in your sisterhood president's login information. The screen will go white. Don't worry, that's what it's supposed to do. And then you will be logged in to the leadership dashboard section. From there, you will see that there is a section called Sisterhood Materials. So you click on that. From Sisterhood Materials, then you can choose either from publications or scripts and services or Sisterhood Resources. In the Sisterhood Resources area, that's where you will find the marketing materials. So the marketing materials are the beautiful templates that the membership ad templates that are very user-friendly. You can use those and insert your own pictures, which is really fun because then if you put that up if you have a sisterhood bulletin board or another prominent place where you can display that in your temple, people walking by will say, oh my goodness. And it looks really professional because it is a professional ad template, and you've inserted pictures of people with whom others are familiar in your temple community. So you'll find that in marketing materials, membership ad templates. Then under Sisterhood resources as well, you'll come across the 3 R's of membership program. And as I mentioned at the outset, the first webinar, the readiness webinar, is on the website, either as a PowerPoint or you can listen to it as well. And there is also a checklist. And for each of these 3 webinars, you will find a PowerPoint once they are completed, as well as a checklist to keep you on task. There also in the leadership dashboard area, there is a section you can click on called Programs for Sisterhoods. In that area, you will find the Just Ask program, to which Dara referred several times in her webinar. So there you will find all the materials that you will need to go through a membership campaign. It's a simple and effective approach for building your sisterhood's membership. You've got sample scripts there, questions and answers, letters, sample letters, follow-up letters, and step-by-step implementation for your sisterhood to adapt and use. So I hope, was that it, Rachel, or anything else?
Yeah, I think that sounds great, and thank you, Sarah, for letting everybody know where you can find these resources. I actually just had an idea for, as Sarah mentioned earlier in her intro, we are doing check-off list sheets for each of the webinars, and one thing that we could add to the end of that is how to find these resources, as Sarah described, so you can take it away and you'll know where to go when you log into the WRJ website. And of course, if anyone has any questions, you know, about finding resources, you can always contact one of us. Okay, and I actually have one other question. You mentioned social media. Can you give me an example of how social media is being used for sisterhood membership?
This is Sharon, and I know there are a number of sisterhoods who may have a page on Facebook, and I know a lot of sisterhoods have distribution lists and use email, but I don't know if anybody's doing Twitter or any of the other newer media to kind of talk about sisterhood. I know WRJ is doing a social media boot camp, and I believe it's open to anybody who's interested, and they have a number of different sessions. So that might be a good place to use within the WRJ umbrella to learn about how to use social media. Again, the focus there would be kind of at the congregation level, but I'm thinking there could definitely be some good takeaways about how to do Twitter campaigns and how to, you know, come up with neat little 140-character or less sound bites that folks who subscribe to your Twitter feed would be interested in reading about. So I don't know if that really answers the question, because that's a hard one.
Yeah, I think that would be a great question to put on the listserv. So again, if you don't have access to the president's listserv, talk to your president and ask her to put that question into the listserv. You know, just email out there who's using social media, what types of social media are you using, and how does it work for you? Great way to get information from all around the country.
Great. And I will echo what Sharon said. URJ is offering that social media boot camp, and it is open to anybody who belongs to a URJ-affiliated congregation, and it's completely free, and they have all their webinars recorded. So it's a wonderful resource. I've actually listened to a few of their webinars, so I highly encourage you and other fellow congregants and sisterhood members in your community to participate. So that concludes our question and answer session, and I'm now going to turn it over to Sarah Charney once more to wrap everything up.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you so much, Dara. This was a wonderful presentation, and it's been wonderful working with you and Sharon and Rachel. As you heard me say earlier, the first webinar is on the WRJ website, and Rachel mentioned that we will be putting that information up, because I realized that while I was talking and giving you sort of a step-by-step description of how to find things on the WRJ website, if you weren't writing it down, it may not be totally clear. So hopefully we'll have that up for you in a logical step-by-step format, and then you can easily find all of these materials that we've been referencing both this night and during the first webinar. So I would like to remind you that the third and final webinar on retention will be taking place on Monday, April 30th at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And please remember to sign up as well. You must sign up for that webinar individually as well. So thank you again for participating. And I believe you will soon see our contact information. And there we go. So here you have pictures of the four of us, as well as our email information and telephone information. Please feel free to contact any of us with any questions you might have. We are available to you, and we hope that you've enjoyed this evening's webinar. As well, please recall that a recording of this webinar will be available very shortly within the next few days on the WRJ webpage, www.wrj.org/3Rs webinars. Thank you so much, and good evening.